All right, on this episode of the LPDS, we get into some world current events, some Libretti current events, LPDS current events, talk Yankees, and what the heck else? I recap my Jersey Shore trip and ice cream adventures all in the Junction. That, plus a Cage fact coming up right now. All right, Jabronis, we're back. Welcome back to the Libretti Podcast Diary Show. I'm your host, Libretti, the show that talks about nothing but tries to find the lessons in everything, and we have a good time doing it. Hope everybody had a good week. Chaotic week, I think, probably for most people. A lot going on. I had a pretty good week. Productive, but also chaotic in its own way. So I'm just glad we're all here. Once again, another week in the books, alive and kicking. So that's got to be worth something for us. If we're following the big three, under number 3, being grateful, I'd say I'm pretty grateful for that, as you should be too. So thanks for being here. Two quick things I want to get into right off the bat. Number one, I can't do long beards. As you can see, if you're watching in YouTube land, I did another, every month and a half to 2 months, I take my clippers and I just buzz my beard off because I just can't do a full real beard. It's not for me. I don't know how guys do the long beards, the super long ones, like the lumberjack ones, or anything longer that's, longer than even a half inch out off your chin and face. It's always in the way. It's always getting messy and stuff in there. You have to buy product to actually get it to look decent and functioning. Otherwise, you look like a weird, like, refugee hobo bum. It's just too much. The reason I even let it grow out is because I don't want to do the work of shaving every day and dealing with a rashy face and ingrown hairs and razor burn and all that stuff that I hated doing in the military. So now I'm gonna cycle a month and a half to 2 months, let it grow out until it gets actually like you can see it off my face, starting to round out off my face. And instead of even going to like a barbershop to get it faded and looking nice, forget about it. That's when I just take my clippers out, my Oster brand clippers, pop on that blade, the 0, and just buzz it back off until I have a stubble again, 5 o'clock shadow from that. Because it's just not for me. I don't want to judge people who have it and who don't mind that upkeep, but the point of a beard for me is so I don't have to shave every day. And if I have to do upkeep every day, I'd rather just shave. It's actually easier for me to just shave every day because then I don't have to worry about like edging certain areas of my face or making sure I keep my liner and my chin even all the time. No. Just shave it all off and it's gone. So I know women say they like it. A lot of women love beards. It's a big, super hot thing. I think that's just the look that they like. I don't know. I hope anybody who's a lady who listens to this, maybe some of the Swifties are still hanging around. Probably not if they're smart. But if you are, or if you have a lady in your life and you're a fella that's listening to this, you have a lady in your life, put it on, put this on for her real quick, just this segment here, and get their take. Is it just a looks thing, or do you actually like kissing a dude with a beard and getting it on your face or other places, perhaps, or seeing your fella struggle with hair in the mouth and food frag and other frag getting stuck in there? It doesn't just get stuck in there. The odors get stuck in there too. And I'm not going to sit here and explain what I'm talking about with that, but I am not willing to deal with that. I don't want old ice cream smells emanating up into my schnoz because they're stuck in my beard. I don't want other old smells emanating up into my big schnoz because they're stuck in the beard. I don't want any of that. So, ladies, please let me know if it's just a looks thing, an aesthetic. Maybe, it makes the jawline look a little bit more pronounced and alpha. It hides, chinless, weird head neck situations. I don't have a very pronounced chin as it is. I'm not like an actor, a chiseled guy, an alpha guy with a huge sticking out pronounced chin. I have to do lockjaw, slackjaw if I want to do that. But I do have a nice little chin cleft. So I don't care. Maybe when I'm rich, I'll get my chin and jaw more pronounced for ladies, and I won't have to don't have to get a beard. Don't have to upkeep one. I don't know, but let me know what it is about beards. It's got to be the looks thing that gets the juices flowing for them, gives them the vapors, and then it's just like a funny guy. Like, he doesn't have to be good looking, but if he's funny, if he hits those triggers for that particular gal, it's not good. She's going to deal with the other bullshit, his dad bod, his tiny pee-pee, whatever it may be. If he can make her laugh, that's their trigger. And some women, maybe the beard is the trigger. They see a nice looking beard, and that does it for them. So they're okay with the fact that it feels like sandpaper all over their body and other stuff. I don't know. I'd like to know. I want to learn. So somebody please help me out here. Call it into the hotline, 202-670-1114. And let me know what it is about beards for ladies. The second thing I want to talk about, I want to put it out right now so that you know it's happening now. Okay, it is currently September 13th. This has been going on for a couple days now. I don't know how long it's going to be going on for, but I want to bring it up right now so that we can come back to it later on, depending on how long it goes. But I am in the midst of an active, covert, undercover operation in corporate America, if you will, that I cannot discuss the specifics of right now. It was completely inadvertent entrance into this operation. I was not looking for this. This is not one of those things where, gatekeeper's gambit, that whole war that we were in. This inadvertently fell upon me, and the creature and I did some intelligence gathering and determined that we are now in an active, covert, undercover operation. And that's all I can say about it right now. But I wanted to let the LPDS universe know right now that we're in it. It is not yet a full-on war. It is an undercover spy operation right now that could turn combative. We don't know yet. Now, I am well versed in this world. I've lived in these trenches before, as you know. And also, as you know, I love the trenches. I live in the trenches. I am a trench guy. So while I didn't seek this out, I absolutely welcome the opportunity. And I know that's not mentally healthy. I got it. We'll work on that after the operation. But right now, in the name of safety and security, I need my mental health to be as unhinged as possible to conduct this operation successfully and keep myself protected. But like I said, how I feel about this stuff. It's not. I hope it doesn't go on for too long because then I'm going to be begging to just exist in the trenches forever. It is a drug. I love the trenches. I miss them every day. So I can't be in there too long. I know I want to be, but I know I can't. Gotta get out of the trenches at some point. But anyway, I had to keep you apprised of that. I am excited for this one. I love working in the world of, I don't know, espionage, clandestine activities, intrigue, mystery. Those are trenches I really enjoy because you have to have a certain level of skill and artfulness to the whole thing to be able to navigate those waters and still be able to accomplish the mission, hack the mish. Traditional trench warfare is, me. I'm never going to turn that down. But that's right up the gut. That's right up the A gap. Hand the ball off to a fullback or a strong running back like a Saquon Barkley type and let him blast through the line. Just no nonsense. Up the gut. It's black and white. It's combat. It's war. Got it. Well, everybody knows that you're fighting me. I'm fighting you. Let's just bang. Love that. But this, you're doing a dance. You're playing 3D chess with each other, and you don't know if the other person knows that they're in the chess match. Because sometimes when you get involved in these sort of operations, you know you're in the chess match, but you have to play it off like they're not. You're trying to create the mystery, the undercoverness of it all. So you're hoping that they're not in the chess match. They don't know that they're in the chess match as well. They don't think this is the dance. And that takes a level of skill and experience and fortitude and scruples. I mean, you got to have ice in your veins. When you know you're conducting a clandestine operation on somebody, you have to exude the same emotions and mannerisms and human attributes that you would normally exude and display in front of your friends and family. It's an act that's above Oscar worthy. It has to be. Because life or death is the result. A movie, you act, if you do well, you get an Oscar. Or if you're politically driven enough, you get an Oscar. Get an award, you get accolades. If you don't do well, then you don't get the accolade. You go home, you still collect your paycheck, you do other movies. But But clandestine operations in the LPDS universe, this could be trouble. You have to be Nic Cage out there. You have to immerse yourself in the undercover character, the persona that you've built for this operation. So much so that the people on the other side will never even know what happened. And it's scary, but there's something about that world of grays, ambiguity, danger, unknown danger is, I guess. It gives you a little extra lead in the pencil. It really does. And those of you out there who have been in that world before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. There's just a little extra heartbeat, a little extra pep in your step. You got the tinglies. It's it is addicting. And that's why I need to get out of it fast. We need to wrap this thing up quickly. Do it quickly, as Kramer says, because it can absolutely become no picnic. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Moving on again very quickly because I just don't want to dive deep into this stuff. I'm over. I'm just tired from it. But there has obviously been a lot of chaos and violence happening in the past weeks in the world around us. Rebellions in different countries, military coups, the conflicts going on, the religious conflicts, um, and then here at home, the Ukrainian girl gets stabbed by a career criminal, which is crazy that that's even a term that people understand. This guy made a career of being a criminal. The senator who was taken to his attack, taken out, shot. I think she was shot. Her and her family, something like that. They were, terrible stuff. The Charlie Kirk stuff. Um, I couldn't not bring it up because it's been significant things happening around us, and especially in the wake of the anniversary of 9/11, which I'll discuss in a little bit again very quickly. Um, it's just a lot for people emotionally, mentally to deal with, physically too. Some people, um, and I just want to remind people that, and some people are going to roll their eyes at me and think I'm crazy, and that's fine. I know that's a reality, but some of you, I think, will be able to just take this in and think about it as a reminder, because I've talked about this before. But there is no left and right, or this or that, or right or wrong when it comes to political opinions. There's a right and wrong when it comes to, values and things like that. I'm not talking about that. But we are in this together. Okay? The American people. We are supposed to be one team. And the government and the media and the powerful influencers out there, whatever you want to call them, the power elite, the deep state, the Illuminati, it doesn't matter. The people who have the power and money and ability and influence to pull strings and change minds, if you will, influence thoughts and mindsets, they are the ones who want us divided against each other. Because as long as we're fighting with each other and thinking that if you have a different opinion than me, you must be an actual enemy that I have to take out. As long as they have that, they can do whatever they want up in their ivory towers. And guess what's going on in that ivory tower? There is no conservative or liberal, left or right, Republican, Democrat. It is the victors. It is the just a their own team of people laughing at us and handshaking each other and saying, "We're going to cause this chaos. You're gonna call me an a-hole on TV and on social media, and we're gonna fight so that people come up in arms against each other and take sides." But behind the curtain, where the Wizard of Oz is hanging out, we're going to be laughing all the way to the bank because now not only will we have all the money, we'll have all the power. We can do whatever we want. And everybody talks about, remember what it was like on September 12th, 2001, how unified we were. And while you don't want a September 11th, and I'm not going to talk about the actual attacks and my thoughts on that, I'm just talking about that day, those attacks did bring us all together. And people constantly say, I say it too, like we were together. We were one team on September 12th, on 9/12. And for a long time after that, everybody had an American flag on their car window, the little connectors. Everybody was together for a good amount of time. I don't think that can happen anymore. They have divided us and debilitated us mentally and emotionally to the point where if something like that even happened again, there will absolutely be an immediate divide of motive, who did it, who's to blame, what side is to blame for this. Oh, the terrorists did it. Well, that's because this administration let the terrorists do this and this and this, or that administration let them do that. I don't think we would ever get that. I know people a lot of times say, well, I guess we just need another 9/11 to bring the world together, bring the country together. That's not the case anymore. Too many people are broken, and you can see it now. A guy got assassinated on a live stream in front of his family. And look at the divide it caused immediately on social media. Now, I know a big problem is it's very easy to be a text message tough guy from the comfort of your laptop or your cell phone. But you see so many people saying like, oh, well, he was a fascist and a radical, so he deserved it. Now, I understand why people say that. I don't agree with it, but they have been convinced that if somebody has a differing opinion than them, they are that evil thing. Fascist, Nazi, communist, whatever the evil thing is. The extremes on each side believe that. If you have a different opinion, you are now the enemy. And it makes sense on paper that you would want to take out your enemy. I've talked about this during the Trump assassination attempt when that went down. That BlackRock patsy operative thought he was taking out the second coming of Hitler. So again, on paper, it makes sense. If somebody took out Hitler in 1930, before he was actually, invading Poland, people would be up in arms. Like, this is a murderer. But now looking back, now you see what he all did, and everybody has the same conversation. If you could go back in time, what would you do? Oh, I'd take out Hitler. This guy thought he was taking out Hitler. This person here who took out Charlie Kirk thought he was taking out a fascist, a Hitler wannabe, a Goebbels. because he was convinced of that. So I can see why on paper people are saying that stuff. I think it's despicable and deplorable. I truly feel bad for people who see heinous acts like this go down against anybody who's really not, he wasn't a bad guy. You could disagree with his opinions and even how he went about verbalizing them and publicizing them, but he didn't do anything to even insinuate realistically a little bit that he was a Hitler Jr. So he just had a different opinion. You don't have to like it. But when somebody gets taken out like that for having a different opinion and doing things differently than you, and if your immediate reaction is to celebrate it or say, "Oh, told you so," "Oh, serves you right," I feel bad for that, for those people. Like, genuinely, I'm not trying to be sarcastic. I'm not trying to sound above them. I just can't imagine feeling any sort of joy or gotcha or any sort of sentiment like that when an innocent person just gets gunned down like that. It just it feels like that's an illness in my mind. Like, if I felt that way, I would be like, "Oh shit, I have to go see somebody get help for this. This is not how I should be feeling about this situation." And I would try to go get help. And I would hope my friends around me would be like, "Hey, dude, I think you need help. Something's real wrong when the first thing you're doing is posting videos of, well, this guy said he likes guns, and now, live by the sword, die by the sword. Or this guy said this, so could you blame people for wanting to kill him?" Like, that sounds crazy to me. For a guy who actually didn't, he's not like Hitler occupied Europe. He did the Holocaust. Like, there are tangible things that Hitler did to make him Hitler, the most evil doer in modern times. Charlie Kirk said things you didn't like. He said things I don't like. I didn't agree with a lot of the stuff he said or how he went about it. Doesn't mean he was Hitler in my mind. And like I said, if you go to that conclusion, it's become this dangerous chain of events now. It becomes, I've always said this for a long time now, and you guys know this. War, violence is the last resort in my mind, because it's so hellacious. I don't wish it upon on anybody. It's a last resort. It's one of those things where it's like somebody's coming after you and you're like, "Please stop. I don't want to have to go to war. We really don't want, you don't want this. I don't want this. This is the last resort." And you go through all the different things and steps to try to avoid war, solve the problem and avoid war, or even put a pause on the problem to avoid war, to give yourselves more time to find a solution. But it's now become, you say something I don't like, step one is to vilify you, turn you into an enemy to justify step two, violence. And that sounds crazy to me. And I don't necessarily blame the people who think that way. Obviously, they have to take some sort of adult responsibility for their thoughts and actions. We all do as adults. But I see how it got to this point. Because for years and years and years, we've been pumped by social media bots all over the place. The mainstream media and all the politicians have propagandized us with all this crap and negativity and chaos. This is why I always tell everybody, or I always suggest or plead with people, get off the internets. Get out of the negative. It's flooding our brains with this. It's changing our circuitry in our brains. I talk about this a lot with Spearhead and on the Leadership Lab about how we can rewire our brains to focus, to help us reach our successes, accomplish our goals, get mental toughness in us, change to have that leadership success mindset. Well, it happens the other way too, and it's more often it happens the other way because the negativity is more common. Plus, we're already wired to look for negative and danger as a survival instinct. So it makes sense that years and years and years of every time we turn a TV on or read the paper or pop open our phones as social media came into the world, the internet came into the world for us, we were flooded with this way of thinking, this line of thinking, which is really tricking us and telling us how to think, telling us what to think and not how to think. And people don't think independently anymore. A lot of people, not here at the LPDS. You guys know what to do, and that's what worries me. That's what makes me so disheartened and sad by this whole thing. Is that these people are out there celebrating in the streets the death of just a guy they didn't like, wasn't a criminal, or a girl in the subway. Well, that guy needed help. He was hurting too. Like, that's a tough look. And I can't imagine having a thought like that and not immediately kicking myself in the ass thinking, whoa, why am I thinking like this? Why did I just think that was an okay feeling or thought to have, an opinion to have about this? So I feel for those people, and I hope we can find a way to actually come together and learn how to think for ourselves again, how to question ourselves and others, and gather information and critically analyze things and understand that we are in this together. Okay? The Constitution gives the rights to the people, and we're by us being divided and chaotic, we're inadvertently giving those rights right back to the people that shouldn't have it, in my opinion. And I wish we can come together finally on this. And it was just crazy to me that there was not 100% agreement of violence is not the way to respond to somebody who has a different opinion than you. It's because they don't think it's just an opinion. They think that was an evildoer because they were convinced of that. And that's tough. And I feel bad. It's very, very disheartening. That said, I am not going to get into the specifics of that situation right now, for a number of reasons. One, when big events like this happen, two things go through my head that are biases, and I'm hand up. That's why I'm trying not to just immediately put out my opinions on things like this. But it looks fishy to me. And I don't know why. I don't know exactly what direction of fishiness it looks, but something doesn't smell right with this whole Charlie Kirk situation. But I'm not going to get into the details of why I think that way. I generally, the two things that the reasons why I always think this way about anything these days, and again, they're biases, is one, as you know, I don't trust the government at all anymore. Whatever they say, Department of Justice, presidential administrations, congressmen, senators, governors, if you're in the government of any way, shape, or form, I don't trust you anymore. I'm jaded. I don't believe a damn thing you say because you have been lying on so many things and getting caught in lies for so long now. There's zero trust on my end. And that's not great. I'm not saying like everybody should feel that way, but that goes into my immediate hey, this doesn't pass the smell test to me. The second thing is sometimes, and I'm trying to acknowledge this on a regular basis, sometimes we need closure. Sometimes the actual truth doesn't make sense. Like, why would it be so simple? It doesn't, why would this guy just randomly shoot this other guy? like this because he was mad. It doesn't make sense because he didn't like his opinions. That doesn't line up. So you want there to be some sort of other reason, other bigger secret conspiratorial thing going on. Oh, that's why. So you can get that closure emotionally. But sometimes it's just the simplest, most basic thing is the truth, whether we want it to be or not. So I have to understand that that comes into play when stuff like this happens. So I got to make sure I'm acknowledging that and not letting that influence my opinions on things. And it keeps me on the straight and narrow as far as investigate everything, critically analyze the actual, the data, the actual data, and form an educated opinion from there or theories from there. So with that, I'm not going to get into the specifics of this whole situation that went down. But I hope that if you had those negative thoughts or those thoughts of like shoulder shrug, like, well, too bad for him, sucks for him, that's what you get, or you were actually celebrating and happy about it, and didn't have any sort of understanding or sympathy for his family, and I come talk to me. We can have a conversation and find out why that is. Um, because I feel like that's not healthy, and we should work on that. If that happened to my family, if I was married and my spouse got gunned down like that, I'd be a wreck, and I'd be like, oh, I want this monster caught. Nobody should be killing over a different opinion. Like you would justify in your head if it happened to you, but for some reason you're okay with removing that and and celebrating it because it's somebody else because you didn't agree with that person. I don't like I can't put together why people are celebrating logically speaking. It's just very um I don't know. I wasn't raised that way. So anyway, moving on. Um as I mentioned earlier, 24th anniversary of September 11th, 9/11 attacks on World Trade and Pentagon in the Pennsylvania field. I've had full conversations ad nauseum in previous years and previous episodes about this. This year was a little bit more disheartening to me given what happened, the same week and what else is going on in like New York City and stuff like that. I fear a lot of people have forgot because they always say every year, never forget. I fear a lot of people have forgot, and when the next anniversary comes around, they know it's coming because it's all over social media and stuff. So they just put up on their stories on social media or a post, never forget 9/11, 2001, and they put up the Twin Towers and the Pentagon, whatever it is. And then they just go, as soon as they hit post, they go right back to forgetting. They go right back to their worlds of taking things for granted and being unkind to people and shitty and living in the negativity and like I said, it's disheartening to even say this, but I think too many of us have forgot that we are in this together. We are the same team. And I didn't put any posts up this year because of how I felt. I felt like it would have been, you know, lost in the sauce of everybody else just posting and then going back to their own realities. So I just reflected on my own in private. Um, but New York City, the people in New York City are clearly forgetting. They're clearly forgetting, in my opinion. This is just my 1 cent opinion. Um, and it's just disheartening that how, if you, what is it? If you don't know history, you're doomed to repeat it, whatever that saying is. Anyway, that's all I have to say about that. Very tough week overall, chaotic, somber week overall. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad we're through it and we can move forward, hopefully, productively, positively, amicably. Now I'm going to get angry for a little bit, but I also enjoy it. It's a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more, lighthearted situation here. We're going to talk about the Yankees a little bit. Okay, now the Yankees have been doing well as of recent for the most part. Okay, there are still a lot of things that I think show their true colors as a non-World Series competing team and not even a playoff competing team, even though they'll make the playoffs. Um, but I was actually getting ready to celebrate the Yankees for Lewis Heal's performance in a recent game against the Red Sox because he was pitching a no-hitter going into the seventh inning. And I was thinking to myself, oh, wow, I've been very negative and critical of the Yankees on the LPDS for a while. And I can easily continue doing that. Volpe still stinks. There's so much I could talk about with him in general, him specifically, excuse me, and then other parts of the Yankees in general. But this is a good thing. I need to be positive about the Yanks and talk about the good things too, instead of living in the negative. I got to start practicing what I preach when it comes to the Yankees. So I was like, oh man, he's going to get a no hitter and it's going to be awesome. Judge hits another home run. Stanton's still being Stanton. I love him. And we could, it'll be great. Caballero's leading the league in stolen bases. And then the Yankees took out Lewis Heel after the sixth inning. He completed the sixth inning and he did not go out there in the seventh inning. And the next pitcher, I even forgot who it was. Gave up a home run. So the no hitter gone, shutout gone. The Yankees still won the game, which is good. But like, what happened to baseball? Now, I've complained of how soft I think baseball has gotten over the past several years in so many different aspects. But you took away this guy. You didn't let him like decide the no hitter. You took that lifetime achievement, that baseball immortality away. You took that choice away from him because of what? Pitch count, analytics. Because I know what happens. What do the analytics say? Oh, the third time around in the batting order is usually when pitchers get hit and things go wrong in games. It's one of the big reasons why they started only having starting pitchers pitch 4 or 5 innings. They don't care about wins and losses anymore or anything like that. It's like there's a whole bunch of other things that are just so stupid to me that actually don't work the way they think they are working. Because newsflash, spoiler alert, there's still a absolute record number of Tommy John surgeries and injuries with pitchers, even though they're pitching way less. How do you figure? Idiots. Anyway, they took that away from him. They didn't even give him a chance to go out there and see if he could do it. Baseball immortality. No hitters. People just don't do that. Okay, that is not a common thing. There have been a decent amount of no-hitters pitched in the history of baseball, sure. But 99% of pitchers in the major leagues go their entire career without it ever happening to him. But an even smaller percentage now will go without it happening to them because their managers took them out of the game. Now, I know I can't totally blame Boone for this because he doesn't have control of his roster. He was told by his analytics geek nerd overlords, this is the time to take him out. So you have to do it. And Cashman, of course, is going to bend the knee and suck the D of the analytics team. So Boone had to take him out. Where I blame Boone is that he's a cuck, simp, beta, bitch boy for accepting that role to be the cuck, beta, bitch boy of the team, to have no say and no pushback. Look, say what you want about Girardi, and I've dogged on Girardi for his managerial skills and the fact that he was not a good manager, in my opinion, at all, even though I love him as a player. I thought he stunk as a manager. He was too weak. But he pushed back on Fatso Gary Sanchez for being lazy and having a poor work ethic and stinking up the place, and how he didn't deserve to play every game and start because of it. And he stood up for that. He stood for that. And months later, he got canned, Girardi. A lot of it had to do with that, I imagine. Boone just doesn't do that. He's the only person in the world, in the whole major leagues, that is willing to be a coach with no power and then also take all the heat from the press and the fans. While Cashman and his boyfriend analytics team live in the shadows, pulling all the strings. But what has Major League Baseball come to? Like, you want to talk about memories for fans. My dad makes this argument all the time, is that, the fans are stupid because they don't care about wins and losses anymore, especially if they never played baseball or have any sports mindset. They want to go so that their kid can see Aaron Judge hit a home run. They don't care if they win the game, but now it's a memory that they can have together, so that's why they still show up to the games. Well, imagine the memory of Judge hitting a home run. First inning, he hit a home run against the rival Red Sox, the Yankees' oldest rival, the Red Sox. And then they win on a no-hitter. They no-hit their rivals. Imagine that memory that they could have had. That is now gone. So that argument is no longer valid to me when they're starting to pull this shit more and more. The Dodgers have done it too with Clayton Kershaw and some other pitchers, where they pull them because they care more about pitch count. Well, we got to save his arm. And we know the third rotation through the lineup, he's likely going to get a hit. When you're on, you're on. That's another problem I have with the Yankees, is their analytics geeks have this grossly incorrect mindset, this mantra that players don't go hot and cold. They don't have slumps or hot streaks. They are what they are. And now I know why they think that way. Two reasons. One, they are looking at the numbers. And when you look at statistics are data of the past. This is what already happened. So they look at last year's numbers and they see that Judge batted 300 with 50 home runs. Let's make up this. He's batted 300 with 50 home runs 3 years in a row. So the data suggests he's going to have a season at least close to that again, based on historic information, based on the analytics, the data, the things that have happened before, which is good evidence. Like, we're basing it off of things that we know have happened. This is tangible stuff that has actually occurred. Got it. But they're looking at the end result. They're not looking at the during. They're not breaking that down of, like, from April to May, Judge batted 100 last year. But from May to July, he batted 500. To me, that is a significant change. That is a cold and a hot. And the Yankees analytics team doesn't think that way. The second reason why I think they have that cockamamie mindset is because most of them have never played a sport in their lives competitively. Maybe as kids in Little League where they got participation trophies and orange slices. But otherwise, they've never actually played a sport to be in the middle of a slump or a hot streak themselves. And anybody who has actually played a competitive sport, even, high school, even middle school, college, whatever, anything higher than T-ball and Pee-wee. We've all had slumps. We've all been in slumps, and we've all been on hot streaks. They are as real as the schnoz on my face. And for them to have this mindset, of all teams, the Yankees, to have this mindset that this propaganda they're pushing out to their players and everybody else in the organization, that there is no hot or cold, they are what they are, is crazy to me. It's also hypocritical because even if they go by that mindset, they should be benching Volpe. Because he is what he is. He bats 200 and he makes all the errors. But they're still playing. So none of it makes sense to me. It already stinks to high heaven for me. And now to pull these players, let him try to get the no-hitter. That's what the actual fans want. That's what baseball wants. When somebody pitches a no-hitter, even the away, like if the Yankees were the away team, they were in Boston at Fenway Park, he still would have got a standing ovation. That's how cool no-hitters are in baseball. All fans agree this was an impressive feat. We should be cheering this on. We should be applauding this effort. And they took that away for bullshit reasons that I can't even fathom. And it's becoming the norm now, which is, again, crazy to me. I don't know what baseball has become that this is now becoming the norm. And I know there's a lot of non-baseball fans that listen, so you can skip through this. Fast forward this to the Into the Cage segment if you haven't already. But damn, if that is not depressing. My friends have always said, a couple of us have always said that, being done with baseball, and I've said this before, it's like losing your best friend. It's gone. Like it's, a part of you is gone. And truer words have never been spoken, not only because I don't play anymore, and the sport is not in my life in the way it was when I was actually playing and competing and living in the baseball world, but it's gone in the sense that the game that I grew up on and I fell in love with is also gone. And this bastardized pussy, beta bitch boy, money grubbing version is what we have now. And it's double disheartening because of that. Because now I know, like if I ever have kids, they're not even going to get the same baseball experience that I did. They're going to get this watered down bullshit version. And they wonder why they can't grow the sport. It's just very disheartening. I couldn't believe it. And I guess that's on me. Shame on me for being shocked by the Yankees being absolutely stupid and weak and ridiculous. In other words, I don't want to say here on the family show. And I wanted to so badly speak highly of them. I wanted to talk about the no-hitter and celebrate them. And they took that from me. They took that from all of us. But anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Let's just move on to the good stuff, I guess. Finally, let's step into the cage.
Okay, let's run.
All right. Today's Into the Cage segment is proudly sponsored by the Pen is Mightier Vocab Enhancer. Do you have a smaller than average abilities in certain aspects of your life? So you want to grow your linguistic skills to make up for it? Then get yourself the Pen is Mightier Vocab Enhancer Kit today. The Pen is Mightier kit provides you with everything you need, not just to learn new words, but grow yourself into becoming truly a cunning linguist. So to show the ladies what that mouth do, pick up a Pen is Mightier kit today to mighty yourself up by visiting www.tonguetwister.com. And if you use the promo code Pump Up My Vocab, you'll get 29% off your kit. That's all I got to say about that. Hurting here with the sponsors. Anyway, the Cage fact. I'm going to be honest with you all. I have so many Cage facts and updates and things in my head that I start to lose track of what I've brought forth to the LPDS universe. And I saw this again, and I can't remember if we talked about it. For some reason, I think maybe we talked about it, but I don't know for sure. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure we haven't. And that's also on me because I haven't created that log of Into the Cage segment facts, for a website or anything yet. So shame on me again for that. But Nic Cage was actually considered for the role of Aragorn in Lord of the Rings. Now, Aragorn, I believe, was Viggo Mortensen's character. Viggo Mortensen. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. Viggo Mortensen. Good actor. Played a great part. Tremendous role in that film trilogy. But now think about Nic Cage being in that trilogy as the same character. And that's, I'm going to let you imagine it. I got my imaginations running wild. But I'm going to let you go ahead and figure that out for yourselves. Create your own version and enjoy that. Now, very quickly, not really a double Cage fact, but double Cage. I watched The Surfer on my flight back from New Jersey to Texas. Crazy Nic Cage movie. I'm not going to spoil it because I don't want people to cry and whine, even though those same people will likely never see this film or care about it at all. But go check it out. It's not a bad movie. It's just a wild Cage movie that brings out a lot of emotions in you if you like Nic Cage and Nic Cage movies. So I would go check it out. There's going to be a time, though. I'll give it another probably couple months from now that my grace and understanding and empathy for spoilies and not ruining things for people, that will run out. Okay, time's a ticking when I'm not going to give a shit about spoilies for this movie, for The Surfer. And then I'm going to talk about it on the show. And I'm giving you a fair warning now, and I'm going to give you a fair warning again when I talk about it. But don't even think about coming to try to guilt trip me or make me feel bad or tell me I don't know what a spoiler is. I'm just going to tell you the movie. Okay? And I don't care what your definition of spoily is. I don't. And I won't. I'm not going to cater to each individual person's definition of a spoily anymore. It's annoying. Unless you're part of the Brotherhood. If I care about you, if you're part of the Brotherhood, then of course, there's no question about it. But if you're not, take a hike, pal. Take a hike. I'm spoiling. And you're going to like it. And if you don't, I don't care. Anyway, those are the Cage facts. What are we doing here, Harry? Moving on, where the Junction, we'll spin the logo up. I want to give a nice little recap of my time down the Jersey Shore. I had a nice dinner with my brother and sister and her family when I got back from the shore before I flew back to Texas. We went to her house. We shared a few laughs, a meal, some dessert. It was fun. It was great. I'm talking about the time I spent with my pal Dave down the Jersey Shore for the 2 days. I got there Friday evening, and then we stayed there Saturday, and into Sunday. We left Sunday afternoon, or I left Sunday afternoon. We watched some football too, whatever. And I want to talk about it. This is not a brag, but I want to share this experience because I want people to laugh at the ridiculousness of what we do every year, even though I talk about it every year as if we've never heard of it before. And I just want to share that. I want to be able to share this silliness with you guys. And then you can bust my chops for it when we talk offline, off the episode, whatever. Now, we do this every year, and I talk about this probably every year. I don't even remember what I talk about anymore. I'm going to be honest with you and transparent. I don't remember everything I talk about. I remember a lot of stuff, big items, and as I'm saying things out loud, I start to remember like, oh, I said this already. That's why I'll say something like, and I've talked about this in the past, because that is when I realize I probably have bothered you guys with this information in the past, and now I realize it and I'm acknowledging it because nobody's perfect, and I don't want to bore you with the same stories all the time and the same shtick every year and every anniversary or whatever. But I also like sharing the updated versions of that because it helps me continue connecting with you guys, because that's what we do in our real lives anyway. Creature and I have this like the same days, generally speaking, all the time, but we always talk about things that happen in our days because it leads to something else. It leads to different roads and conversational opportunities based off of that. So I never want to stifle conversation with anybody, especially here in the LPDS universe, just because we've had the general discussion before. Especially if it's fun stuff like going down the Jersey Shore. Yes, it's very much the same as last year's trip I took with my pal Dave, and the year before that, and the year before that. But again, it always opens the door to different new side conversations and new things that specifically happen on this trip that I like to share with you, and I want the same from you guys when you go on your annual trips and same sort of adventures, generally speaking, because new stuff happens. And I want to share in that. I want to hear that. Because I know there's a lot of stuff that you guys enjoy about your lives that I'm sure you feel like, I don't want to bore this person with that. They don't care about this, but I do care. I want to hear about that stuff because it matters to you. It made you feel something positive, so I want to share that with you. That excites me too if it excites you. So that's the long way of me explaining. This is why I talk about a lot of the same things over and over again, because it always leads to new shit and deepens our connection. And I like that. Now, this year, we went down with the same mindset, slightly different, because in previous years, my buddy and I would mix in some bar hopping. Mainly because on the weekends, bars will have sports games on, and I specifically always go down to the shore, or up, I guess, from Texas, the weekend after Labor Day when all the tourists are gone and it's quiet and it's local Labor Day, local summer down in that area. And we have our pick of the litter of food spots and restaurants and bars and all this stuff without having to deal with crazy crowds. So we want to go out and see the town, but also football starts that week too. So we were bar hopping a lot to catch sporting events, but not this year. We've advanced a little bit because the goal of this weekend that we took together every year, this past or last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever you're listening to this, the goal of after Labor Day hangout in the Jersey Shore is one, mainly to spend time, hang out with he's one of my oldest friends. I've known him since I was in second grade and he was in first grade. So it's always great to do that and hit the reset button mentally. We talked about that last episode. But B, it is our one time a year that we absolutely throw health and wellness to the wind when it comes to our diet. We're both pretty damn disciplined when it comes to healthy eating daily, 80-90% of the time. And then a couple weeks prior or a month prior to this particular trip, this meetup, we get even more disciplined and strict with the healthy and clean eating to prepare for this. And then we go crazy for one day. Saturday is basically the day. I'll call it 36 hours, a day and a half on each end, because Friday evening for dinner, dessert is sort of when it starts for me. And then Sunday morning is when it ends for me. Because I'll get a little breakfast dessert Sunday morning as well. Saturday, of course, too. But our focus is ice cream down there in the area, the Jersey Shore we go to. And I don't want to talk about, like, I'm not going to say what specific area because I don't know if Dave wants that information out there. I never asked him. I'm sure he'd be fine with it, but I don't want to take a chance. Maybe I've said it in the past. I don't remember. If I have, then it's out there. Go dox us. I dox myself. But in that particular area, it's very bicycle friendly. And the place is loaded with ice cream places or places that happen to also have good ice cream. Like maybe it's a pizza joint with good ice cream or a restaurant or a diner with good ice cream as well. So that's what we hit. We hit all these spots. And it's a lot, guys. I'm going to run you through what we had just Saturday. Okay, Friday night, I'll give you a quick Friday night. We went to a restaurant. I had a clean, I had a nice steak and vegetables, but then I had a gelato for dessert to kick things off, if you will. Saturday morning, we crushed a workout. I ran 3 miles down the shoreline, not on the beach, but the boardwalk area that they have there. And then I came back to home base and probably did about 200 push-ups in the different sets and styles, and then showered up. Dave went to the gym to swim at the pool there and do his workouts as well, and then we rendezvoused back at the house. Now, that was 8 o'clock in the morning we started that. By 9:30, he was back from the gym with a box of 6 donuts. Big, thick, customized donuts at this bakery on the way that he passes on the way back from the gym. Jelly stuffed, peanut butter and chocolate, like apple pie, like all the crazy donuts, not just Dunkin' Donuts. And I don't mind Dunkin' Donuts, but this is big time bakery donuts. And we each split. So we had 3 donuts each right off the bat. And then we went to get breakfast at this one place that is always busy. So we usually end up sitting at the bar because you don't have to wait. You don't have to make a reservation for the bar. And there's usually a couple spots for us. It's a little tight, but we hit the little bar. And I got a regular breakfast, as I normally do. Eggs, bacon, And then they have this crumb cake, this like crumb coffee cake combination that just will blow your balls off. I love a good coffee cake. It's a little coffee cakes are historically on the drier side, and they have the crumb top, but it's not as crummy as like homemade crumb cake. Now, if you're not familiar with the pastry world, especially up in the Northeast in New Jersey, New York, there is a difference between straight crumb cake and coffee cake. Okay? Coffee cake does have some crumb-like toppings on it. It is a crumb-like top for the most part. And then the coffee cake itself is a different style of cake than regular cake or crumb cake. Now, crumb cake is regular cake, spongy regular cake on the bottom, and then the crumb top is very crummy and delicious, and you put a little powdered sugar on there. It's a different style of crumb than you would normally see on a coffee cake. There is a distinction. I am not well versed enough. I need to get the Pen is Mighty or vocab enhancing kit to be able to effectively articulate this to this to you guys. But just know that there is a difference between crumb cake and coffee cake. These guys have a combination. They take coffee cake bottom with crumb cake top and combine them into this absolutely perfect mix of cake pastry deliciousness. And I get it every year at this place. I make it a point. We have to go to the buttered biscuit for breakfast, usually on Saturday because that's the big day for us. But if it has to be Sunday morning, I don't care. We have to go for breakfast at the buttered biscuit to get this coffee cake. Now, Dave also got French toast, which is basically dessert for breakfast at this place. Nutella, marzipan, whatever it's called. You know, I forget. I'm not good. Mascarpone. I don't. Dude, I'm losing it with what other, cheeses and creams and stuff were on this thing. And then he got a side of bacon, and then he also got a coffee cake. But then we happened to be sitting directly in front of or behind a platter with this giant cake in it. Now, it was coconut. I don't mind coconut. I'll eat any cakes and pastries and cookies and desserts. It's not my first go-to when it comes to cake, but that's fine. Whatever. I'm still good. I would still eat it. It was a vanilla cake with a raspberry layer in the middle, 2 raspberry layers in the middle, and then coconut cream outside icing. We ordered a big slice of that. It was basically 4 normal people slices that they just decided to cut into one huge slice for us. So we split that up and we crushed that in the morning. From there, on our way back to the house to finish our donuts, we stopped at this other bakery to get these giant chocolate chip cookies that were they had the circumference of a soccer ball. Not a basketball, not that big, but a soccer ball. Just giant chocolate chip cookies. Brought those back to the house. Started taking those down with the donuts. We took a quick break. We cheesed up, watched a little bit of sports, placed our bets, and then we were back out to another spot. This time, Italian ice for the palate cleanser. Cleansed our palates a little bit. Nice, refreshing. I got standard lemon. Nice Italian lemon ice. Beautiful. And then from there, a block away is this place it's one of my favorite places to get ice cream. Now I'm gonna say this. I am not the food connoisseur, the taste tester connoisseur, whatever you want to call it, to know to be able to pick up on the nuances of ice cream at one place to another, unless it's like this place has good ice cream, this place has cheap fake ice cream, the standard crap you get at whatever, McDonald's and the other places. Like I know fake ice cream. For instance, I love a DQ Blizzard, Dairy Queen Blizzard. That ice cream is bottom of the barrel ice cream. It's made with fake preservative ingredients, whatever. These ice cream powers, these one offs down in the Jersey Shore in this area, it's all homemade real ice cream with real ingredients, no fake crap for the most part. Yes, they put candy in it and they put Oreos on top and stuff like that. I got it. But the ice cream itself is homemade, no nonsense. So this place has that. Plus, they do all these different styles of cones and ice cream sandwiches and combinations galore. And it's a small shop, and the lady has been running her. It's her business. She's been running for a while, and it's just there's so many things about it that just make it my favorite place. And it's not because I think the ice cream is far and away the best ever, but everything about it makes it my favorite place. The ice cream is obviously good, but I can't. If I did a blind taste test between that and another mom and pop ice cream place in that same town, just plain vanilla for vanilla, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference. I don't have the refined palate enough. It's not like Coke and Pepsi, I can tell the difference. This stuff, I can't. When it's at that high level, it's too nuanced for me. But this place, we went in and we got these giant ice cream sandwiches. Giant chocolate chip cookie on each side, big scoops of ice cream in the middle, and then I got the ring around, the sprinkles around the edges. Look, that she rolled for us. Actually, I'm lining it up now to have her on an episode of Libretti Leadership Lab. From this ice cream power. So I'll stay tuned for that if you're interested in learning about that, and hearing her story. We're going to be talking about that hopefully the next episode of the Libretti Leadership Lab. I haven't been the last week. I did not record another episode because I got these guest interviews lined up that I'm trying to get the guest ones complete. I want to get these scheduled and recorded so I can post those. So I've been pulling back on the end of the solo episode the last week or two or whatever, so I can get those in and not run myself too ragged on doing both at the same time. So stay tuned for that if you're interested. But we hit that place up for ice cream sandwiches. Then, right, we're quote unquote heading back to the house. We got ice cream sandwiches in hand. We just hit an Italian ice. We hit the house. We drop off the ice cream sandwiches because they were in to-go containers, and then we pop back out to go get another cup from another spot. And we crush that. And we're crushing. Now we come back to the house. We still have the donuts. We still have a lot of cookie left. A lot of those cookies left. And we're banging, we're rocking through those. We took a quick little napski, threw a cheeser in, watched some football, updated our bets, checked things out. Then we were back out again. We hit another spot, another snack cup of ice cream, snack scoop. It was actually next to this place called DJ's. And now, if you're from the New Jersey area, New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, DJ's is the spot for high school going into college and spring breakers hitting the Jersey Shore doing the Guido stuff. DJ's is the spot. That's a pretty popular, famous club, bar, whatever you want to call it. So we rode our bikes all the way down to that area. Got ice cream there. And then we hit one other place for another cup of ice cream. We were getting cups instead of like cones because we stopped for dinner, for real dinner, to get a snack pizza and some mozzarella sticks. We took down this pizza like nobody's business. And this pizza is right up my alley. It's like a bar pie, thin crust, crispy. It slides right down the gullet. Crispy pepperonis if you get them on there. This place is called Vic's Italian. I think they have good Italian food there too. I don't know. I only get the pizza. And then from there, we hit one more ice cream place that is like a small family chain in that area. Like there's like a couple of towns that it's got probably 3 storefronts there, I want to say. Got another cup of ice cream there. Dave picked up a to-go pint from that place, and then we took it back to the house just in time because that's when it started raining. And then we got back to the house. We finished off the donuts. We finished off the cookies. We finished off the pint. And then we finished off the ice cream sandwiches we had in the freezer to finish the night off. We watched football. One more cheese. And then bedtime. And we called it a night. Sunday morning it was raining again, so we couldn't really go out on the bikes too much again. We hit a spot for breakfast. Just got regular standard breakfast, nothing too crazy this time. And that was that. Now, I didn't count the calories. And it wasn't, when I say we got cups, each place, their size small, quote unquote, was a different size for each place we went to. And I promise you, it was more than small. Each quote unquote small was at least 2 big scoops of ice cream from each spot. So we're not counting calories, but I want to tell you, I must have had close to 2 gallons worth of dairy of ice cream in that one shot alone, that one day alone. That's all we ate. We had breakfast, eggs for breakfast, and pizza was the only actual, like, quote unquote meals we had. Everything else was ice cream and cookies and cakes and how you doings. And let me tell you something, guys. That's not healthy. In case you didn't know, you shouldn't do that. It is not healthy for you, especially if you do it on a regular basis. So I don't recommend doing that. We do it once a year. If you want to do it once a year, have at it. It's like I said, like I always say in the past, whether it's on here or in general, everything in moderation, including moderation. Some days you just have to throw moderation to the wind. I got it. You want to overindulge. I would recommend, though, you prepare like we do. 90% of your time is eating clean and healthy and being mindful so that you live a long, healthy life. And then I would even tighten it up even more so leading up to the day of reckoning that you want to have. And then even on that day, you still get a workout in and knock off number 1 of the big 3 and exercise to help mentally and physically justify the calories you're about to take in. And then go all out if you want. Have at it. But you can't, obviously you shouldn't be eating like that every day. That's no way to live. You're not going to live a long time, or you're not going to live healthy for a long time at all. But that's why we do it once a year, and that's what makes it so fun, is that we train for it. We joke about how we can't wait. We're talking about it all year long leading up to it. Is all I'm thinking about is sugar day, is ice cream day down at the shore, doing our thing. No, not a care in the world. We're riding bikes. We're hitting the beach, and we're eating ice cream. We had ice cream on the beach. I forgot to mention that. We stopped after we grabbed a scoop. We hit the beach to eat it. It was awesome. And we went back to the house for cheese and cookies and what have you. It's just a fun time, but I don't recommend you. Please don't do that every day. Don't live like that every day. That's not healthy. It's not good. But you could if you want to try it one day, let me know, and I'll hype you up. I'll root you on from the sidelines because people, we work hard for the most part here in the LPDS universe. It's nice to have those crazy days, those overindulging days every once in a while. So if you do have those, hit us up in the hotline and let's talk about it. 202-670-1114. It'll be fun to share your experience and how you got after it. I would have loved for the creature to come along because every year we do things a little bit differently. Maybe we'll try a spot we haven't been to yet, or we missed the year prior or whatever. But there's a lot of bakeries up there with different pastries that I know the creature likes. And if you're gonna get them anywhere, you want to get them at these spots. You want to go to New York, New Jersey to get these things. If you can't go to Italy, it's the motherland itself. This is the next best thing. All these Italian bakeries are run and owned and cultivated by Italians, by greaseballs. So you got cannolis, you got cookies, you got lobster tails, schwoyadels, everything. All the rainbow cookies, everything. And we would have added that to the mix as well, and that would have been just lovely. And I think that's right up the creature's alley. Maybe we'll do something. It's tougher to do something around here because the caliber of pastry around here is just not the same as it is over there. So we'll figure something out. But yeah, if you're going to do something like that, if you're going to pick your day, I don't even know what kind of day you want to call it. But let me know. Put it in the comments, DM me. Hit the hotline. I would love to hear the story about how many calories, how many different spots you hit, how much food you took in, how much you enjoyed it. Maybe you did it with a spouse or a significant other or a friend or whatever, and you guys got to share that together. Let us know, 202-670-1114. I do want to talk about, I guess a little wrench being tossed into the mix from an otherwise great weekend. I'm pretty confident I broke my fingies. The tips of my fingies. Pretty confident I broke them on my dominant hand, my right hand, my writing hand, my throwing hand, my typing. Well, I type with both hands, but and my hand to do other stuff, self-treat. It started raining, as I mentioned, Saturday evening. It started raining, so we're putting the bikes back in the garage because we want the bikes to get wet and rusty. And the garage does not have a handle on the front at the bottom of the garage door to pull down on. You have to pull the string first, and then there's a handle midway up the garage door that you can close and lock the latch at the end. So I was pulling the handle with my left, or pulling the string on the left side with my left hand, and I had my right hand up on the face of the outer portion of the garage door as it was coming down. And I put my hand on there to catch the handle as it came down so I can use my right hand to finish the door closing. And I even made it a point. I said it to myself in my head, hey, Libretti, don't put your hand close to the slats where they meet up, where the garage door slats meet up, because you don't want to crush your fingies. So I put it above, safe. But because it was raining already and the direction of the rain was hitting the door was wet. The face of the garage door was already wet. And once I put my hand above the slat, I shut my brain off thinking like I can put it on autopilot now. I already made the safe decision. Now I don't have to continue being safe-minded. And it was a rookie mistake because I stopped paying attention and my hand slipped down because I put pressure on the door and my hand slipped upon that pressure. and my fingies went right into the slats just as the door was straightening out and the slats were coming together. You know how the door will bend down, like if you're looking on YouTube, it'll bend down, and then as the door comes down, the top slat flattens out like this. Right as it was flattening out, my fingies were in there. And if you can see in YouTube land, my right pointer finger, the nail is all bruised. My left pointer finger is bruised. And you could see the middle finger's got a blood blister. The pointer finger had a blood blister, but it's gone now. And I can't do anything with it anymore. To the touch like this, there is a sharp pain, mainly on my pointer finger because that got the brunt of it. But the tip of the middle finger too. And you can hear the crushing inside the garage door. It sounded like when you finish a bottle of water, a plastic bottle of water, Moreland Hills or whatever brand you use, and you crush the plastic bottle. That's what it sounded like. And I'm confident that on the tips of my two fingers here on the right side, the top tips, the pointer area, inside, beneath the swelling and the blood pooling is just crumbs of bone in there. Little crumbs and frag of bone just hanging out in there. I can almost feel them moving around as I shake my fingies. Luckily, it's swollen enough to the point where they're not moving around. I don't have to, I can just guess that that's like that. Maybe it's not like that. I don't know. But for the past week and beyond, really, because I don't know how long it's going to be like that. They're broke. You can't really do anything about broken fingertips. They tell you, maybe sometimes they tell you to tape your fingers together. I can't do that. I got to write. So I got to endure the discomfort and the awkwardness and pain. But it's tough to do everything else. It's tough to wipe. It's tough to grab a hole and everything. I had to adjust a little bit of the stuff I had to do at the gym when it came to workouts. But, I made the mistake of getting too comfortable, too cavalier in something so simple and crush my fingy. So that's what I'm dealing with. I can still hit the sticks because I always sticks with the middle portions of my fingers, depending, on the controller where my fingers hit those buttons. It was never the actual fingertips themselves. So really no changes. Still decently effective on sticks on Xbox. So that's not a big deal. But otherwise, we're working injured. We're working impaired. And I fought every urge inside of me to not scream like Marv in Home Alone 2 when he gets electrocuted because I wanted to. And when something like this happens, I'm pulling down with my left hand and my right hand gets crushed. The first thing I want to do is let go and pull back my hand to get it, quote unquote, out of the situation. But by doing that, the garage is going to continue to go down and continue to crush my fingers even more. So I had to, deal with the pain and not scream and cry like Marv and alert the neighbors and alert my pal. I had to be tough. And B, I had to make sure that I redirected my left hand to be pushing up on the door to bend the slats again to get my fingers out. Because if I just pulled at the current state that they were in, it would have done even more damage. It would have done even more damage. I really need that Penis Minor vocab kit. So I had to deal with the immediate pain and excruciating agony while also immediately redirecting the force and direction of the door so that the slats opened up again for me to get my fingers out safely to prevent further damage. And then I had to close the door, obviously, because the bikes didn't, you couldn't get them wet. We had to go get more ice cream later on. And then I had to sit there in the throbbing pain. And I'm sitting there, I had my fingers just up like this, like I was in the Hunger Games doing the whistle, or whatever it is, because I had to keep, if I put my fingers down below my heart and my waist, the throbbing was even worse. So I walked back into the house like this, and my buddy's like, "What are you doing?" I was like, I absolutely smashed my fingers like a jabroni. And he made sure I asked if I was all right. And then the next immediate thought was, we have to make sure we can still bike to the next ice cream stop. I couldn't let it hinder the goal of the weekend, and it didn't. I took a couple Advil to relieve the swelling a little bit and the inflammation and hopefully reduce the pain because of that. And it did enough. And then when I was able to get ice cream, I held the ice cream with my right hand because that cold cup acted as like an ice pack for me while I scooped with my left, and it actually helped with the pain there, and everything was okay, a-okay in the end. So, and that was my weekend. Then I flew home Tuesday, watched the surfer on the plane, had a nice time, and I'm excited to do again next year, and I'm excited to share with you all next year as well, once again. And that's all I have to say about that. I feel like there was some other stuff I wanted to talk about today, but I forgot. So there you go. You're welcome, I guess. So I'm not blabbing on. But before we go, very quickly, the big three, the three pillars to staying strong and being a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being, and being able to spread that positivity and goodness to all those around you and throughout the land. Number one, exercise every day. Do something every day to improve your fitness, health, and wellness physically, mentally, or emotionally. So whether it's a workout outside, a run, workout at the gym, jumping jacks, a physical workout, or you're breaking a mental sweat, or you're doing some praying, meditation, and working on the emotional, spiritual side, do one thing every day to exercise your self physically, mentally, or emotionally. Number two, the hardest one to do, don't be a shitty person, be a kind person. I kind of hit on this when we talked earlier about the mindset and being shitty online and all this other stuff. When the opportunity arises to be negative and shitty to someone, even if you think they deserve it or you think they're, you're right in what you're saying, take that LPDS step back, detach from those negative emotions, those unhealthy negative emotions, and remove yourself from the situation. Just put your phone down, close your laptop, walk away, whatever it is. Because by doing that, you're minimizing the negativity and the shit and the chaos and division going on in this world and in your own life. And you're allowing yourself now the capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things like exercising. Number three, the most important one, be genuinely thankful and grateful for all the good you have in your lives. And you do this by thinking about at least one good thing actively a day that you're thankful for, one good thing in your life and what your life would be like without that thing, or at least one good thing that's happened to you in the last 24 hours that you're grateful for, that would make your life more negative and worse off if you didn't have that, if you didn't experience that in the last day. By doing that a little bit each and every day, you're going to be putting yourself in that state of gratitude and getting yourself out of that state of taking things for granted. And that will allow you to be more effective at following number two and being a less shitty person and being a kind person, which will allow you the capacity to go focus on more positive, productive things like exercising. And if you do these three things a little bit each and every day, every single day, just a little bit, day after day after day after day, I promise you, you'll be a better, happier, kinder, healthier, less stressed, more genuine human being and a better leader overall in life. And you'll be able to spread that positivity, goodness to all those around you and throughout the land. I'm mixing up podcasts again. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this channel on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify, and tell your friends and enemies about us. and hit that hotline, 202-670-1114. I love the hotline calls. Tell me about your fatso days, your ice cream days, if you're having them, your indulgence days, whatever you want to call them, feast days, feast Fridays, whatever. Hit me with your questions. Hit me with your advice, your feedback. Let me know everything. I'm here for it. 202-670-1114. Thank you guys again. I love you all. Stay strong.